One Name, Two Fates. During the winter break, our familia read Wes Moore's memoir, The Other Wes Moore, One Name, Two Fates, which details the narrative of two boys with the same name and their two different journeys in life. Now, do you recall nature versus nurture from biology? To give a quick recap, nature refers to how innate biological factors like genetics can influence an individual's personality and lifestyle. Meanwhile, nurture refers to how one's environment, including relationships and experiences, impacts development. Nature. To be more specific, nature is defined as your genetic makeup. This includes your appearance, your body height, etc. Now, you might wonder who Wes Moore is. Before we dive into that, let me tell you about where Wes Moore grew up. Within the book, the author placed us in Maryland, where Wes Moore was born, but focused more on the Bronx, New York. But from Wes Moore describes, we are given a clear picture of the place he grew up in. Within Cherry Hill, where Wes Moore was born, he details how over half of the 80,000 residents lived below the poverty line. This led to many problems that are correlated with high poverty rates and crime. Moore grew up witnessing police brutality and personally faced many encounters with law enforcement as a young boy. Wes Moore also describes how drugs severely impacted his life. Drugs were very prevalent within the communities he grew up in, and recalls seeing the pain and grief it brought to families. Now it is time to meet Wes Moore, or should I say, Wes Moores. The first Wes Moore is Wesley Wetend Omari Moore, the author of the book. He was born on October 15th, 1978 in Tacoma Park, Maryland, to Joy and Wesley Moore. He is recognized as an American politician, investment banker, author, television producer, and nonprofit executive, serving as the 63rd governor of Maryland since 2023. Clearly very successful. He believes no matter where you start in life, you deserve an equal opportunity to succeed, which is said in his campaign. Wesley John Wes Moore, the other Wes Moore, was born in 1975 and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. Due to life circumstances and decisions made, Wesley Moore was convicted of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole by a judge. Within the prison, he converted to Islam and practiced Muslim beliefs. Wesley Moore remains incarcerated in the Jessup Correctional Institution in Jessup, Maryland. Now, one might ask, why is their story important? Why do we have to care? Their stories are important because they demonstrate the impact of social systems within our society. The other Wes Moore is a drug dealer, a robber, a murderer. I am a Rhodes Scholar, a White House Fellow, and a former Army officer, yet our situations could easily have been reversed. Like mentioned at the beginning, nurture focuses on the ways people are raised and the resources available to them. We see the influence this has on both Wes Moores, as both grew up in low-income communities and had various encounters with drugs and violence in their youth. We tend to underestimate the impacts of social systems and structures. The Stanford Prison Experiment, conducted by Philip Zimbardo, is a perfect example of the impacts of social structure on one's psychological psyche. The experiment, which was named Unethical, questioned what happens when you put good people in a negative environment. Although the experiment had to be halted, it was able to demonstrate the impacts of social structures within a prison and the abuse of power. Nurture. The Bobo doll experiment, conducted by Albert Bandura, also reinforces the power of observational psychology, observing how it can influence social behaviors. With the experiment, a group of children was put to observe the interactions of researchers with a doll they named Bobo. After they watched, they were sent to interact with Bobo to see if they would imitate the researchers' actions. The results of the experiment demonstrated that children are able to learn social behaviors such as aggression through observation or watching the behavior of another person. All these experiments prove how nurture plays a big role in our lives and how negative environments and interactions can easily influence our decision making. The following video shows that the environment they grew up in was so impactful that even the moms could not shield them away from danger.
hard as I tried to shield them from the drugs that were becoming increasingly a part of the neighborhood, I was losing the battle. I was losing my only son.
I came to the realization that I lost control was that when he wouldn't go to school. Because, my feelings was that you're living at home, then all you have to do is go to school. If you can't go to school, then you need to just move on.
He wasn't failing with F's, but he certainly was not doing what I thought he was capable of. He was very satisfied with C's, and I just felt he could do better than that.
I saw Wesley getting involved with drugs and, well, with crime at the age of maybe like 11 or 12. He figured that doing crime, selling drugs was the way out, the way to get the things that we couldn't afford.
There were empty threats.
Both Wes Moores faced oppression and were extremely limited in opportunities he could choose. Their stories clearly reflect the debate of nature versus nurture, which can be identified from the similar factors in their lives, but the two very different outcomes of their lives. For example, Wes 1 went to military school, which completely altered his course in life, whereas Wes 2 dug himself deeper into selling drugs, but after being convicted, he reflected his life and found how his environment impacted his decisions and actions. We hope this presentation enlightened you and taught you more about the different influences in our lives. Thank you. And here are the citations. Now, if the government is listening, we need to do better. So let's get it together and let's do something about the oppression, okay? Because I am sick and tired. I am sick and tired of reading books like this and crying. Okay, thank you. Thank you.